Welcome to the new RiverCityGamers Podcast, hosted by SCXCR and Well Unreal 007, as well as many other members from the RiverCityGamers website. Stay tuned for all the gaming news, new pickups, and everything else we feel like talking about on the RiverCityGamers Podcast.
And welcome to the RiverCityGamers Podcast. I am SCXCR.
I am Unreal.
And this is Wizwar 100.
And Zeromaster.
2/3 of Team Canada is here with us today.
Is this like the second time Zero's been on? Like, how many episodes have we had without him so far?
3,
4. I was in the first one.
I can't be expected to do math at a time like this.
How do I math?
Don't divide by 0. It'll just engulf everything.
Even more important question, how do I gaming news?
Gaming news! So unreal.
Alright, quick question. How many times have we talked about THQ before?
Too goddamn many times.
Well, here's the third. This is more of an update. Everyone knows that THQ went bankrupt.
Yep.
This news update pretty much details what franchises and developers under THQ got sold and to who. I'll just go through this whole list right here. Relic Entertainment, who made Company of Heroes and the Warhammer 40k series. I think the series. It's just saying Dawn of War here, which I'm not sure if it's a series or just a part of Warhammer. But Sega bought them for $26.6 million. ZeniMax Media, which owns id Software and Bethesda, kept as a reserve after bidding $0.3 million less. So, Evolve, which I think formed from Turtle Rock Studios, who co-created the Left 4 Dead game. Take-Two Interactive purchased them for $10.894 million. It's not really a developer, but the Homefront IP was purchased by Crytek. It was purchased for $544,218, which I'll just say right now is the lowest amount out of everything that was bought from THQ.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's surprised by that, though.
Yeah.
No, ever since that indie bundle.
Ubisoft also bought the rights for the new South Park game coming out for $3,265,306. So now Ubisoft owns the South Park game that's coming out.
What about Metro, the sequel to Metro 2033?
Let's see. THQ Montreal was also purchased by Ubisoft, and it seems like for $2.5 million. Oh, it's not just that. German media group Koch Media, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, they captured Volition Inc., who made the Saints Row franchise and Red Faction games, bought them for $22.2 million, and the publishing rights for Metro.
Yes, Metro, $5.8 million.
Millions!
So, as of right now, nothing on Darksiders.
Actually, nothing on Vigil in general.
Yeah, they're the ones that made Darksiders.
There's actually an interview with the former THQ president in which he's quoted as saying, "I failed to find Vigil a home." So Vigil, the studio, pretty much gone now. Their IPs and their staff can still be acquired, but the studio itself, not really there anymore.
I'm a little disappointed that Darksiders was only sold for $500K. Because weren't those games supposed to be really good?
Are you thinking about Homefront?
Is it Homefront?
Homefront was the one that was for
Homefront was the
$500K.
Homefront is what I'm talking about. Okay, I don't know anything about Homefront.
Other than that, they tried to make a series out of it, and they got the director from Red Dawn to write it.
And a bunch of codes and balloons got lost at sea when they tried to do that promotion thing.
Oh, wait, didn't they do that with Mass Effect as well?
No, they sent Mass Effect into space. It eventually landed back down, but it got caught in a tree, which is much better than getting lost at sea. But the problem is the tree it was caught in, I think, which landed in California or somewhere. The trees that landed it you're not allowed to climb them at all because that's like banned or something. So
no tree hugging.
I'm not sure if they got the game down from it. Probably did, but I don't.
Oh, well, how much did they do? Did THQ own Darkness?
The Darkness? No, Take-Two does.
Take-Two. Okay, good. Okay. I don't know why I got that confused, but
It began with T.
So Homefront is pretty bad then?
It didn't live up to the hype. That was the thing. But people like the multiplayer.
I never cared.
Me neither.
Multiplayer's hard to fuck up, so...
One thing I will say is that I think
Make Shadowrun.
I think WWE being in the hands of 2K is good because they make pretty good sports games.
Oh yeah, and we didn't mention that earlier. 2K has the WWE license.
Yeah, it didn't list it on this. I completely forgot.
Yeah, but like I wasn't sure if you listed it or not. But they make good sports games like. NHL 2K10, like, I would have passed it off as just some other sport game, but me and my brother sat down and played it, and I really like it. It's got a really good engine. I know, Canadian liking a hockey game, right? But
well, actually, I can vouch for another thing that 2K did, which is the NBA 2K series, which I actually rather enjoy. And people love the NFL 2K games before EA got involved, and you know the rest.
Yeah, well, but 2K seems to they seem to do their sports games right, and I'm not saying that EA doesn't, but it's EA Sports. So.
Game of the decade, Madden 2011.
But
the fans, there are no fans.
But yeah, I'm interested to see what happens with WWE now it's in their hands, because just watching you play WWE 13, the more I think about it, I'm like, is this a PlayStation 2 game? Like, every time I look at it, is this a PS2 game? Because that's what it looks like to me. And we're in the end of the 7th or 8th, I can't remember, I think it's 7th console generation, and the game looks like it's like a generation or two old. That's not good. I'm the last person who'll say graphics are important, but they kind of are. When your game looks like an early PS2 game.
Well, WWE in general is based on spectacle, so graphics do play a role in that.
Again, I'm not a wrestling guy, so I don't know. But yeah, it's time for an engine upgrade, a long overdue engine upgrade, and yeah, 2K will probably do it. But other than that, I don't really have any feelings towards anything else they sold. Honestly, I don't.
I'm just kind of depressed about Vigil not getting picked up. Although, I actually found out why by trying to do a little research on this. Because Vigil had just released one of their major IPs recently before THQ went bankrupt, they didn't really have much that they were in development on, so that made them less attractive to potential buyers. And the one thing they did have in development was a new IP, and a lot of people weren't willing to take that risk. And that's also why a bunch of other stuff did get bought up, which apparently there's going to be a Homefront 2. Think about that.
Oh.
Yeah, they've mentioned that for quite a while.
But it seems like it's going to be under a different developer now, since I'm not sure if Chaos Studios is dead now, because they made Homefront. And it said that Crytek bought the game's IP, so Crytek may be under development for Homefront 2.
Any other thoughts on THQ?
They're dead.
Is this the last conversation we'll have about THQ?
Unless someone brings it up in a review, probably.
It won't be the last time I review a THQ game. I can guarantee you that. Because there's one I actually bought recently, which I'll bring up when we get to recent finds or whatever it's called, recent pickups, that is not too bad, and I'm compelled to review it at some point. And at some point, I'm going to have to talk about some older Power Rangers games that they published, so I am far from being away from THQ. Even after their death, they will haunt me. All I can say about THQ is just another one of those companies that made bad decisions that finally got it to bite them in the ass.
Speaking of...
Oh boy. Here it comes.
What do you got?
Atari.
Yeah, Atari's dead now.
After all these years, it finally bit the dust.
Which
Video
honestly,
gaming
I
is
didn't.
over.
I didn't hear about this until like a few minutes ago. Believe it or not, like.
Same here.
Like,
So what happened? Like, why'd they close? Any reasons? Because I really don't know.
well, I have an article up here. Just let me take a look. It doesn't really give any reasoning behind it. I would just think it's financial troubles because they don't. What did they need other than
didn't
DBZ
they-
games?
Didn't they have to like sell their company with the Sword Quest series?
That was years ago. That was years and years ago. I don't think that would affect them now.
I know, but like, didn't that happen once before?
Yeah, but they got bought up. They got scooped up. They're
Yeah.
closed now. I don't actually know why they closed, but it's kind of sad that they did because they pretty much are one of the most important icons in video gaming.
In history.
Pretty much.
Yeah, I can't say I didn't play an Atari game. I mean, it's like your grandparents.
Yeah.
Of
They've been
video
around
games.
since 1972. That is a long time.
It's 31 years.
One of the longest running.
Oh wait, no, 41 years. 41 years.
They're definitely one of the longest running video game companies. I mean, the last few years they haven't really done anything substantial except, like I said, publishing games.
Yeah, they did just some okay games. So
Yeah. It's just that they're like a big name in now they're not. They weren't for the last few years. Like when newer people thought Atari, they didn't really think anything about them. But like to
back in the day,
the old school players from the 70s and 80s, Atari was important to the industry. I mean, they got tons of history. They contributed in the video game Crash. They had a successful console. They made a lot of terrible consoles.
they made games. Don't forget the games.
They like one of the first video games ever to be released in an arcade. First game, Space War and Pong, were both from Atari. So
What about Galaga?
I can't remember if they did Galaga. I think
There was an arcade game of Galaga. Like, I've seen that.
no, but I'm talking way back though. Like early. 4 was the first game they ever released, and then Pong. But I'm thinking way back, like late 60s, early 70s. Long story short, it's kind of depressing that Atari's gone, but I really wasn't that surprised. The only thing I have to say is I knew they weren't going to live off DBZ games forever.
Oh yeah, there's only so much you can make off of that.
Especially when they suck.
Like Dragon Ball Z Connect.
Connect.
Yeah, how do you guys feel about Atari closing?
Completely indifferent.
Even you're not old enough to have grown up with an Atari, right?
My first game was Pole Position on the 2600.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Well, I played Space Invaders from Atari, and it was fun while it lasted, but eventually it had to go.
I really don't have much to say on this subject, honestly. It's unfortunate, really, but I really don't have input on this one. So, because off the top of my head, there are a few games that they've published that I've played. Like, they actually ended up publishing Unreal Tournament 2004, which I really liked. And another game off the top of my head, they published Enter the Matrix.
That was the good one, right?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Or was that the one with the 2 side characters?
that's the one with the 2 side characters.
Oh, okay, never mind.
If I just say one thing, I didn't. The oldest console I have is a Intellivision, so I don't even have an Atari, but I mostly remember them for Pac-Man games and Dragon Ball Z games, and some of the best Dragon Ball Z games were published by them, and also some of the worst.
Actually, looking back at Atari's history, good God, how many times can you change names, change people, and change companies?
Too much.
Like, you're right, they started as Atari Inc. in 1972, then they became Atari Corporation, then they were a division of Hasbro, then they became Atari Inc., a division of Atari SA, then they were Atari SA. They were basically passed around like a doobie.
It's ironic that you use that statement because they were from the late 60s, early 70s. Everybody had to take a hit from Atari.
Past the asterisk on the right-hand side. Shall we move on?
Yeah.
Alright, I might as well bring this up. I went to sleep one day and then I woke up and Nintendo took all my money. Nintendo Direct.
Go on.
Well, they announced a number of things that would be happening with the Wii U. Most surprisingly, a crossover title between Shin Megami Tensei and Fire Emblem, which... How?
Yes, I heard about that. That's a very weird crossover. Fire Emblem? I can see what's gonna happen with that, but that's still kind of like, whoa, out of nowhere. Because we all know what happened in Fire Emblem, right?
I think the general reaction is, what?
Yeah, I really don't know how to feel about that one, but there's some other things that were announced, like to celebrate the Famicom's 30th anniversary, there's some like virtual console titles that will be available through the Wii U that are only going to cost 30 cents. They're going to rotate games each month. Right now they have Balloon Fight, and then they're going to have F-Zero, Punch-Out, Kirby's Adventure, Super Metroid, Yoshi, and Donkey Kong.
Anyways, I really want a Wii U by February now so I can get F-Zero for 30 cents. I'm gonna spend hundreds of dollars so I can buy a game for 30 cents.
Fuck you, I got a box copy. I'm good.
Makes sense.
Have you opened it yet? Did you open it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Why? I buy games to play them, not to
have.
have them sit up there do nothing.
But there was more that happened during Nintendo Direct. They showed more information on Bayonetta 2, even though it was mostly just like showing people in development, like doing 3D models and stuff like that. They showed more about Wonderful 101, and they showed a trailer for an unnamed Monolith Soft game, which looks a lot like Xenoblade, except it has like robots and guns and more real-time battling, and it's just called X right now because that's the closest thing to a title that the trailer had.
Oh
those
yeah.
fucking graphics.
X number of graphics. Oh yeah, what about Wind Waker, the remake?
The re-release?
The remake, I don't give a shit.
And they also said that they're remaking it just to hold people off until the next Zelda's finished, which apparently isn't coming anytime soon.
Well, yeah, they just did Skyward Sword.
Yeah. Which makes sense.
Which
They're
I still
kind
have
of
yet
like,
to play.
they kind of mentioned something about the new Zelda, like, they're considering about, like, rethinking how Zelda works, and, like, originally it was just, like, single player only, so it may allude to that there may be more than one person being able to play the new Zelda game, but we don't know right now.
Or
You don't think it's gonna do
Yeah,
that.
but I don't know, but in terms of rethinking Zelda, they mentioned, like, you know, something with dungeons. Maybe, like, you could do them out of order?
I was gonna say, was it gonna do the thing like in Super Mario Galaxy, which isn't really much help?
Oh, you know, it'd be cool if they did co-op, but how they did it is that instead of there just being one Link, there's Link twins, and the other one's a girl.
No, neither of us will be virgins.
And and both of you will be
Excuse
effeminate.
me, Prince.
By the way, we at
Finally.
River City Gamers do not promote incest.
Yeah.
It's disgusting. But I was thinking, you think they're gonna do something with Zelda on the Wii U where it's like the person holding the controller will be the dungeon master, and on the tablet they do all the stuff?
Maybe, because that's kind of been the pattern with what they're doing with a lot of games right now. Oh, actually, I guess I might as well mention this in the news section, but Pandora's Tower, coming to the West.
And it comes out in March.
Wait,
That's
where's
it.
Pandora's Tower?
Oh yeah, and so is that Namco times Capcom times Sega game.
Oh yeah, Project Crosszone's coming out here too.
That's the game you just mentioned, Wiz.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna pick that up because if it plays like Endless Frontier, I'm probably gonna like it.
Yeah, I want it too. I'm gonna have to get a 3DS too. I'm gonna have to spend a lot of money.
Why don't we go ahead and look at some games that are coming out down the line? I'm going to try and pick this one up. I don't know because I'm getting a little tight on funds right now, but Rayman Legends, only like a month away.
It's pretty fun. Did you ever get to try the demo?
No, I didn't.
I'm gonna say it's definitely worth checking out. They also make a pretty nice good use of the tablet, at least the section I was playing.
I still need to play through Rayman Origins, and I don't have a Wii U yet, so we'll see what happens.
Alright, well, still looking ahead, we have... Oh, right, this is happening. Dead Space 3 coming out soon.
I still need to download the demo to play it, even though it's probably gonna play the same.
Oh boy, Dead Space 3, the space is dead.
The lack of oxygen makes it dead.
No! That's it.
I have a feeling you're going to say no to this too. Metal Gear Rising Revengeance.
Snake was telling me that it wasn't that bad, actually. And to be honest, it didn't look that bad to me. I just wasn't impressed.
Yeah, I just kind of don't give a shit about Metal Gear Solid anymore.
After 4, nobody really should.
Actually, I think Peace Walker's the only one you should care about, and that came after 4.
Here's how I feel about Metal Gear. I own 1 through 4 and I haven't played any of them. The only Metal Gear game I've played is Metal Gear for the NES. And that's like a slimmed down port of the original game, so
And looking toward early March, oh boy. Tomb
What
Raider.
I think it is.
Can't wait to parachute at fucking Mach 10.
I love how it's a game inspired by a game that was inspired by Tomb Raider.
I just love how the parachute physics in Tomb Raider are worse than those in Saints Row.
Speaking of Tomb Raider, so right now on Steam, the Tomb Raider collection is like on sale. I think it's
Yes, I saw that.
I think it's like $14.99 slashed down from like $60, and that's like all the Tomb Raider games for the most part.
You know what is coming out soon is Castlevania Lords of Shadow Mirror of Fate on the 3DS.
Is that its own game, or is that like a version of like Lords of Shadow 2?
I don't know, I don't follow Castlevania.
This is the first time I'm hearing about a 3DS Lords of Shadow game.
Oh, it's been out there for quite a few months, almost a year.
No, the first Lords of I'm talking about this 3DS game. I don't know.
The 3DS game. Snake showed it to me like a month ago.
They announced it alongside the official sequel, actually.
Ah, there we go.
Well, moving on from that, this is the last one I got, and I guess people will care about this, but God of War Ascension.
I'm indifferent to God of War. Like, it's cool, but
I'll watch my brother play it.
Yeah, God of War was one of those games that just kind of got tired of it halfway through the second one.
It's one of those franchises where they did everything they could, like in the first 2 games, and then afterwards, just like, hey, now it's kind of neat. It's a hack and slash.
Kind of like Dynasty Warriors.
But wait. This one's going to have multiplayer.
Well,
I still know.
Because that's what God of War needs.
Yes.
My brother.
The worst they can do is make a Dynasty Warriors God of War. Because, well, shit, why the hell not?
Because the enemies weren't easy enough to kill.
Yes.
My brother probably will pick that up because my buddy Josh's gonna get it, and they play a lot of multiplayer games together. So
that was all the upcoming releases.
That was indeed the upcoming releases. So let's stop talking about games that we don't have and talk about what we got.
Who's going first?
Well, because you spoke up, you are.
Oh boy, let me just grab this pile of games right here. Alright, so first off, I'm gonna start with things I bought from Walmart. I got my hands on Death Smiles for $10, and I also got my hands on Alice Madness Returns for $20, and I believe it includes a download of the first game. So yeah, that's like 2 games in one for $20. So I'm pretty happy about that, because I just looked in the bargain bin and I saw Alice. I'm like, yep, this is mine. Because that game's getting harder to find now. Okay, now, first off, here's something. There's 2 different pawn shops I went to the last couple weeks. First one was the usual one I went to. I picked up snowboarding for the PS1. It's literally just called snowboarding. It was $2, so I was like, okay. And then I picked up Blast Chamber. I have no idea what this is. Does anybody know what this is?
Why does that sound familiar?
I know. I looked at it, and I'm like, this sounds like a game that either Unreal or SCR know something about, but you guys probably don't know anything about it, do you?
It does sound familiar.
It's called, it's Blast Chamber, and there's like a guy in like motorcycle attire on the front of it.
It's not Road Rash, I'll tell you that.
No. It's like an action game or something, but it looked like they got like motocross attire and just like spray painted it. But it was $2 as well. Next I picked up DBZ Budokai 2 for $2 because I know it's not the most liked of the Budokai series, but the collection doesn't come with it. So I wanted to get it. So, and I'm going to get the HD collection at some point of the Budokai one when it goes down in price. And then the last one I picked up from this Hawk shop was a PS2 game called Haven Call of the King. Again, it was $2, and I don't know what it is, but it looks interesting. That's all I'm going to say about that. And then, now, I promise, this is the last bag. I promise. At the Hawk shop in my town, it's literally called the Hawk shop, I picked up, for $5, Matt Hoffman's Pro BMX for the Dreamcast. So, that's another Dreamcast game. And I played the PS1 version of this, but I haven't played the Dreamcast one, so I'm assuming it's the same game, but should be fun. And then a couple of Super Nintendo games. I got Art of Fighting for $5. It's pretty good. I think I rented this way back because it seems so familiar when I started playing it. And I also, this one I was surprised to find for $5, Wing Commander for the Super Nintendo.
Nice.
Not the one with Mark Hamill, right?
No, it's not Wing Commander 3, but I saw that Wing Commander is a name I've been hearing a lot, and I'm like, $5, this is probably worth a lot more than that, so I'm gonna grab that.
When you play that, the first thing you should do is eject from your ship because you get a medal for that.
Oh, really? I don't know how to play the combat. I'm really bad at it. I've only played like 10 minutes of it, so I'm not sure. But like, is $5 a good price for this?
Yes.
Okay, well, that's good. And I also, before I talk about this last game, I also picked up the Red Faction strategy guide for my brother for $1 in this place, because my brother was a huge fan of Red Faction, and I don't think he owns the game anymore. But I thought he'd like to see the strategy guide, but he was like, oh, I want to read this. And then, of course, the next day he comes home with a copy of Red Faction, so I know what he's going to be playing. And then this last game, which I was surprised for, it only cost $1. It's a THQ game. It's called Alter Echo, and it's for the Xbox. It's not bad so far. I've only played the first few stages, but I like it.
I remember hearing about that. All I know is the cover is really fucking shiny and...
Oh, wait, yeah, it's shiny as hell. That's what caught my eye at first, and I looked at this, I'm like, oh, this looks interesting. And then I saw that it was $1, and I'm like, you know what? This is probably going to be bad, but I'll pay $1.
I like my bling on my game cases. I'll pay $1 for that.
It's actually not bad. Unfortunately, it doesn't work in the 360, even though it recognizes the game. But it doesn't work. So I've been playing on my original Xbox, which is fine, but it's in the same room as my Xbox 360. I just like to play it on the 360, but whatever. But so far, it's pretty good, and it's yeah, I've only played a couple stages of it. It's got one thing I'll say about it right off the bat, though, is it has really nice graphics for an Xbox game. So take that with what you will. But yeah, that's my pickups. Interesting.
Lots of pickups.
It's my budget pickups. So, anyways, who's next?
How about
later? Very put on spot. Let's see. 999, 9 hours, 9 doors, 9 people. That's literally the title. I picked that up. Pretty heavy story-based games. But I did enjoy it. And I did pick up a few other games. Let's see. Expendable. Not you know which game I'm talking about, right? SCR Expendable.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not the Expendable game by Sylvester Stallone, not based on that new movie. Or the recent movie, not that one. It's a very different game. It was on the PlayStation and the Sega Dreamcast, and I picked that up. And I also picked up Zelda Oracle of Ages, because the one I originally bought is a broken piece of crap. And also Pokemon Puzzle League. So that's my list.
Alright, well, I might as well go next. And my list is going to be pretty short. First off, I got a surprising amount of Dreamcast games, actually. I got Soul Fighter for the Dreamcast.
Sounds like a precursor to Soul Calibur.
Nothing like it. I'll just leave it at that. And I got, for the Genesis, Barkley Shut Up and Jam 2. And then, going back to the Dreamcast, I got Blue Stinger.
Yes.
For $1, I got Sword of the Berserk, Guts Rage.
Nice.
What?
And for the PS3...
Wait, did you say the Berserk game was Dreamcast?
Yeah.
Oh, I know what game you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, go on.
And I got my pre-order for Ni no Kuni, Wrath of the White Witch on the PS3.
Oh yes, that. What was that game supposed to be about?
I'll tell you when my PlayStation 3 gets turned on, which I still haven't done yet.
When did you pick this up again? The fucking system, like...
Shortly after Thanksgiving.
Have you done the update for it yet?
There's an update for it?
Wait a long
Oh my
time.
god.
You might want to turn your console on one of these days when you're just chilling at home so it can do its giant-ass update.
I'll think about it.
The
Anyway, moving
50,000
on.
update.
Since you mentioned the strategy guide, I might as well mention that I got a really old-ass issue of Nintendo Power, which features a game called Weapon Lord on the cover. And the reason I got this is because it has these really long, like, in-depth articles on Killer Instinct, Earthbound, the upcoming Nintendo system, which at the time was called the Nintendo Ultra 64,
Jeez, I wondered.
and hilariously, it has a preview article on the Virtual Boy.
We all know how that came out to be.
Wait a minute, Scott. You said the cover was for Weapon Lords?
Yeah.
Oh my god, that fucking game. Oh. I have a half-written review for that god-ass game. Oh.
Well, to lighten the mood, why don't I read a few quotes from this Virtual Boy article? Such as, Nintendo plans to introduce 3 games for the release of the Virtual Boy. 3.
That's like almost half the library. Actually, no, that's like 1/4 of it.
It's pretty sad when the launch catalog is worse than the Fairchild Channel F's launch catalog.
Oh wait, how about this? Mario Clash is a good example of a game that fully uses the graphic capabilities of the Virtual Boy.
So they knew what they were getting into. They were able to use the full capacity of the Virtual Boy before it was even released. Fantastic.
I guess. How about this one? I'll just end with this one because I could go on a whole podcast about this. Red Alarm's polygon-based environment may remind players of Star Fox.
If it had texture.
Having played Red Alarm, no, it does not.
Is that all your pickups, Scott?
Yeah, I'm done with that. Unreal, please get us away from the Virtual Boy as far away as possible.
Oh, hold on. There's one I missed. I just want to get out of there. And the reason I missed it is because I forgot I picked it up, and I actually picked this up when Wiz was at my place. At the dollar store, Serious Sam: The Second Encounter. Well, anyways, sorry, Unreal. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Well, for me, there was a few things I did pick up that weren't games. I'm not going to talk about those, but I actually thought I had less games to list than I remembered. I picked these up, I think a week ago. 2 of these, while some other games I got a few days ago. I ended up picking up 1080 Avalanche for the GameCube.
180.
It's actually easier to do 360s more than 180s in this game.
Oh, you mean they didn't carry over the needlessly complicated trick system?
Nope. Doesn't seem like it. I only played a bit of it. I don't have much to say on it right now. It's just, it doesn't have the same soundtrack. Like, the only thing I can say about the soundtrack in Avalanche is it has licensed tracks, but I only like 1. So everything else sucks. But honestly, I preferred the N64 soundtrack because it was
It sounded better.
well, not that. It sounded how do I put it? It doesn't sound like snowboarding.
So it's more fitting.
Yeah, it was more fitting, even though it sounded nothing like snowboarding music. I think I picked that up for like $4, if I can recall. Then the same day, for $10, I got Castlevania Harmony of Dissonance for the GBA, which was the only GBA Castlevania game I didn't own.
Is that the one with the I remember there was a white-haired vampire. No, I don't think it was Alucard, like in the beginning.
It's not a white-haired vampire. It's a white-haired vampire hunter.
Ah,
fucking Belmont.
But basically, you have a whip.
Yes, and you're outlined with blue through the entire game. Then a few days ago, I picked up Rock Band Unplugged for the PSP. This was $2. It's good. Call of Duty 2 for the Xbox, which was $5. That's the one I was like looking for the most, actually. Resident Evil: The Umbrella Chronicles, which was either $15 or $17. And for $2.66 at Goodwill, 007 Everything or Nothing for the PlayStation 2.
Which one was that?
That was the third-person one. It came after Nightfire, and it was really fucking good. Like, you could look up gameplay if you don't know which one it is, but...
Yeah, alright.
Yeah. I played that game, like, years ago with a really old friend of mine on the Xbox. If there's one thing I will never forget about this game, is this one mission where it's supposed to be a stealth mission, and if an enemy spots you, he runs to the alarm, and the mission fails if the alarm's activated. So, what we discovered is every time an enemy activated the alarm, the mission fails, and we just froze in place. We couldn't move on. So the enemy comes back and starts punching the shit out of you like nothing. We did this so many times on purpose because it was fucking hilarious. I will never forget this game, but now I own it. I probably would have wanted to get the GameCube version, but I just said, fucking whatever. That's all I got. I may be missing one game, but that's really not important. So there you go.
I guess this brings us to our discussion topic.
What is it?
Well, I figured since DMC just came out, why don't we talk about storytelling in games?
Oh, you mean that one scene in The Secret Ingredient?
No, the whole game's writing.
I guess what I'm getting at here is storytelling. Do you give a shit?
Nope. It's just Dante. Wait.
I'm not talking about with DMC. I'm talking about gaming in general.
Sometimes I do, but
let's see. RPGs, yes. Visual novels, yeah, definitely. If the story matters to the gameplay, like in an RPG, like you're leveling up so that you can take on this boss that's, I don't know, about to destroy the kingdom or something like that. That's where the story I would pay attention to.
Here I'm a little odd with story, because sometimes I care, but I'd never care a hell of a lot. I'm not the kind of person who really gets invested in a story. I know it's important for games, but even say with RPGs, it even so, when I play Final Fantasy, most of the time I barely care or don't care about the story. I just want to play the game. So, which is ironic because they're story-driven games most of the time. But I guess I would be maybe an odd choice for that, because I a lot of the times when I play an RPG, if the story's good, I'm okay with it, and that's about it. I don't really shake too much at it. And I acknowledge it, like I said, I acknowledge it's important. I'm just not as big. I always go for gameplay first over everything, so...
Yeah, definitely. Oh, and then there's the point-and-click adventure games. That can't just be gameplay by itself.
I could never get into those. I want to get into survival horror, because I know the stories for those are really good, but
yeah.
It's
depends.
But all the survival horror games I want to play, I don't have access to, or getting access to them might be expensive. I want to play... I want to play Clock Tower. I want to play...
Wait. Which
Parasite Eve. There's a couple of them I want to play. Well, Parasite Eve isn't really a survival horror.
It's on PlayStation.
It's a survival horror RPG, sort of. Anyway, I want to play it. And I'm not really interested in Silent Hill. I like Resident Evil 5. I want to finish it, but it's not really survival horror either, I guess.
Survival action.
But you know what I mean. Like those games, are games that I really want to get invested in the story. D is another one. I want to get D and D2 and Enemy Zero.
You want to get invested in RE5 story?
RE5 story, I'm just like, that's kind of neat, but really I play it for the gameplay. But that was just, I was just thinking not Resident Evil, survival horror games. But no, like D's one I really want to play, because I know D is like a
Story.
I just don't have a Dreamcast. I have a Dreamcast, I don't have a Sega Saturn. I can't talk, so Scott, you were gonna say something while I was talking, what?
Yeah, you play Final Fantasy games but don't care about the story?
I do, but not that much.
Okay, because I was gonna say, if you're playing like a Final Fantasy game, something that's so heavily story-driven, and you don't care about the story, why do you keep playing?
I like playing RPGs.
What the fuck?
Like an example, Final Fantasy X story, I'll admit right now, it's terrible. But I love the game. It's a fun game. It's got an simplistic yet complex battle and customization system, and that's what I really like about it. And like, now that I've seen some of Spoony's review of Final Fantasy 13, I actually want to try it, because it seems like an RPG I'll actually finish. Because that's my other problem too. I don't finish RPGs. I get to a certain point and then I get bored. I'm actually forcing myself right now to complete Metabots for the GBA, because I've always wanted to finish it, and I'm halfway through the game. But I just got through this point that was so boring it made me want to give up and go to something else.
Which part? The theme park?
No. The theme park, I like that. I got to where you go back in time, and the chapter just before that, which is Meteoropolis, which is so boring. But the story in Pokemon doesn't really matter. Sometimes it does, but it really doesn't. Like when they finally tried putting in like deep storyline in Pokemon, I still didn't care about it. Like, it was cool that that they tried to put like
something
like PETA style stuff, or not PETA, but Pokemon right stuff into it. It was interesting, but I really didn't care. It was still Pokemon, so I don't know. I like playing RPGs, but half the time, unless I really care about the story, I just don't give a shit about it. Again, like, story's important. Half the time, unless it's really good, I just don't really care for it.
You're playing a game, and I should be playing a game. A story can add to it. It's like icing on a cake. You don't need it, but it sure makes it nice, unless there's too much of it. Or it's shoved in your face.
Well, no, that's not right, because you need to have story a lot of the time. But
Pac-Man didn't have a story, yet people
yes, it is. You eat ghosts. That's the story.
That's not a big story.
You eat balls,
that's an objective.
Shut up. Unreal.
You know I'm right.
Eat
you
balls.
Eat balls.
Don't teabag Pac-Man. He might eat your balls.
Anyone want to go ahead of me? Because I'm going to kind of rant for a while.
Well, Unreal, seeing as you just reviewed a game that had the most generic story ever.
Okay, my piece is kind of interesting because I was actually thinking about it a little bit. For me, story, it all depends. Like, for me, if you bother to put in, say, characters or some type of plot, but not care about it, there's a problem. If you didn't care about a plot, don't put one in. There are a lot of games that do this, that like give these characters, give the setting and stuff, and doesn't really go anywhere with it. And instead, focuses more on the gameplay. For me, yeah, I care about gameplay a little bit more because I want to play a game. But my problem is, if you introduce a story, do something with it. Because if you go nowhere with it, with a story, then that's a problem. For example, RPGs. If they have a great story, that's great. Like, you can care about what you're doing and what your purpose is and stuff. Characters, settings, and everything. You can be invested in it. other RPGs can do this terribly by explaining nothing about the fucking world you're in, gives no backstory on the characters, and just gives them like whatever fucking personalities, and doesn't explain why they're like this or why they're being a fucking whiny 2-year-old.
Like talking too much but not telling you anything.
I just want to bring up an example. You know Spoonie's doing his Final Fantasy 13 review, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a prime example of what not to fucking do.
Sure.
But not just RPGs, like even shooters, which a lot of people say doesn't really need a story. Like I said earlier, if you bother to put a plot in, care. Just fucking care.
Oh.
If you want to focus on gameplay more, just don't have a story, period. Older games don't really have stories. They just focus on gameplay. They just give you setting and stuff. That's fine. But once you introduce characters and everything and try to explain a story, you need to do something with it. You can't just throw it away.
Oh, by the way, speaking of story, I remember an article from the writers of Black Ops 2 that were like, people should be invested in our story because we wrote it. Or something like that, and I was just like, no, it's not that interesting. You still shoot stuff, and that was kind of all I see in Call of Duty. You shoot stuff.
Well, if they had the attitude where you should like our story in Black Ops 2 because we wrote it, you picked the wrong game to write a story for, because most people who are buying it are playing it for the multiplayer. So you picked the wrong game to put a story into.
Or it could have a story, but it's just, this isn't
I'm sure it has a great single-player mode, but most people who are buying it are playing multiplayer. So
then you're not buying the fucking game. You're neglecting a part that's in the game for a fucking reason. Play it! I don't care if you're like a multiplayer-only fag or a single-player-only fag. I look at everything. When you give me a fucking product, when you set it down on my front fucking desk that's covered in fucking soda cans and glasses from dinner and shit, you gotta sell me on everything. Give me a reason to try everything. In defense of Black Ops 2, the single player was the best fucking part, because it blows my mind how, like, surprisingly good it was.
Well, in that respect, it's good to have a really good single player, but the thing that I'm trying to get at is here, most people who are buying Black Ops 2 aren't buying it for the single player.
Then those people are fucking sheep. Alright?
It's Call of Duty. Of course they're sheep. It's the biggest franchise in gaming history.
Look, I get it, okay? I'm just trying to say, regardless of fucking franchise, you can't escape from this shit. Like, give everything a fucking chance.
Don't half-ass it.
Yeah,
it's just unfortunate that they have to get to the point where they have to tell people to play the single player so that they play through the story. It's ridiculous. That's why it's like kind of unfortunate. They should have picked another franchise to put it in, because then maybe more people would have played it.
And hell, one thing people kind of miss in multiplayer, and I know this may seem like completely retarded, but single player, at least with its story, it at least tells you or explains like why in, say, multiplayer team games, like for example, why this side is fighting this side. The obvious answer is they're at fucking war, but
which is a cheap way of telling the story.
But yeah, with older Call of Duties, you should know, because with older Call of Duties, like say with like 1, 2, and 3, the games are based off a war that actually fucking happened. I mean, things with like characters and shit probably didn't happen, but events, they fucking happened. Hitler happened,
like,
okay?
It was like if you took a magnifying glass at the wars and like looked at one small part of it, like this one soldier's life, it would kind of be like that. Kind of reminds me of this one World War II movie. They took a setting from World War II, but they focused on like the personal life of this one sniper, which was pretty cool.
That's in general. That's it. There's other genres that like can get away with not having a story. Let's take Rock Band. There's no story really. yeah, like, you're playing the game because it's a music game. You're there to have fun. The only semblance of a plot is really the characters you created just going through a tour in their life of fucking, like, fame and shit. That's pretty much it. That's where it's excusable, because that's not only a focus, it's because how can you make a story if everything you do is pretty much what you create and whatever? It's just like, imagine it as your own life as a fucking rock star. That's what it does. But
it makes me want to bring up, like, the Metroid games. Like, the story, it's told through visuals, and that was really good until Other M came in and just kind of just like blah 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 this.
okay, that was my piece. I know I probably got angry, but I think Scott might be angrier.
He's the angriest.
I actually kind of blanked out, like, partway through the conversation, and probably missed a lot.
Great, okay.
So, what were you mad about, actually?
You'll hear it over when you look at the recordings. Just
Basically,
if you want cliff notes, if they bother to put it in the story, do something with it. Don't fucking put it to the side.
like explain it and so forth. Don't leave the player in the dark, or like not just putting it there just because you can.
I've been trying to think about how I can put this into words, but there's no real good way to do it, so I'm gonna kind of be all over the place.
We'll guide you if we can.
As far as like on the developer's end, if you put any sort of dialogue in, any sort of characters, you should be judged as having put effort into something resembling a story. And for that, you should be judged, positively, negatively, whatever. And on the gamer end, I have two things I want to say. If the game puts in a story and you just mash A to get through it, to get to the gameplay, go fuck yourself. At least try to get into it. The developers put it in there for a reason. The least you can do is give it some semblance of attention.
Was that a jab at me? Because I actually try to get into most stories. I just half the time don't care.
Well then fine, it is a jab at you.
Well, whatever.
Hold up. The only reason I do that, skipping through, is because I've done it before.
Damn it, I was gonna bring that up.
Like, say you're
because-
playing again for say.
If
like,
you've done it before, you've already experienced it and you don't want to experience it again, fine, whatever. It means that you
Yeah,
put that
it's
into the
just like-
story the first time through, so you've already like experienced it and formed your own judgment on it. That I'm okay with.
yeah, that's with almost every game I've played. That's what I've done.
Well,
It's
send
the
me a
people who
cutscene
don't
in the
give it
story.
a chance at all that I have a problem with.
Well, I give it when I play a game, I give it a chance, and I do go back sometimes to things and say, "Oh, that was cool." Like I care a lot about the story. Like just example, Sonic Generations. I cared about the story for that. It wasn't the main focus of why I'm playing the game, but I cared about it. It's just again, I don't put the story at the main focus, even if it's an RPG.
I'm not
Because
saying
I'm playing a game.
I'm not saying make it the main focus of everything that you do. I'm just saying give it a shot at least.
Like fucking care.
It makes me think of Metal Gear Solid 4. Like, first time playing it, I watched all the cutscene. I was like, oh, pretty cool. Second time, skipped it all because, well, already seen
They're
everything.
pretty fucking long.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm actually doing it with Peace Walker. Like
Not
when
with
there's
Black.
cutscenes, I'm sitting there and
That's-
watching them.
It's part of the reason why I'm a little, why I'm kind of avoiding getting into Metal Gear Solid. One, because I think I'll be terrible at the games, but two, because I know how they end up. They'll end up being movies, pretty much.
There's
And
no
me-
way you're gonna be as terrible as me.
And well, to me, once I finally get to 4, I might not play through it because I'll be like, "There's no gameplay. Why don't I just fucking watch a movie?"
Actually,
Or you can watch people on YouTube who have cut together all of the cutscenes.
Chip
Pretty
cheese
much.
them, just watch them.
actually, Zero, Metal Gear Solid 4, Unreal, would you say that's probably the shortest game out of all of them? Because I remember the missions not being that long.
It's
and
the
the
only
act-
Metal Gear Solid game I've beaten.
Yeah,
So don't-
the acts are pretty short. Like, as opposed to Metal Gear Solid 3, which was very long, especially if you played it the way I did.
Maybe I should start with 4 if it's so short.
Actually, I would kind of recommend it, because then, like, when you go back and play the previous games, you'll get all these references or these plot things it makes note of, because,
But
however,
let me just reiterate what I said, Scott. Like, I care about the story, but the gameplay always comes first. Like, even in an RPG where story is super important.
I agree that gameplay in video games comes first. What an interesting concept.
And something to motivate the player.
I just don't want you thinking that I just don't care about game stories because I play them just to play as games. I do care, but like even in something like Final Fantasy, if I'm not getting into it, I'm just gonna play the game because I like playing the game.
Oh yeah, and then there are the games with like multiple endings.
What are you playing then?
Because I can like playing an RPG for the gameplay.
No,
Is
but
that
like,
wrong?
but like older Final Fantasies in general, then it's Mash A the game.
Well, I'm not speaking specifically. I'm talking mostly once it jumped to 3D.
Oh, okay.
Like Final Fantasy 7 and 8. 7, I cared for the story to a certain point. Then I was just like, okay, let's go play the game, explore. You know what I mean? And then 8, I was just like, let's go draw magic for 5 hours. 9 is the one that I really got invested in the story. 9 is like the best Final Fantasy game, I have to say, of the 3D ones. And 10 was just, the story was kind of dumb,
Whiny.
and I got humor out of it, so that's why I kept playing it. Plus, I've already said that I really like the battle system of that game.
I guess this is phase 2 of the rant on the gamer end of it. By the way, people who keep telling me to stop focusing on story and things, fuck you, I'm doing it. Not gonna name any names, but you know who you are. Anyway. Part 2 is that even in things that aren't really story-centric, we kind of have a tendency to fill in the blanks subconsciously ourselves. Like, I'm just gonna throw this example out there. Madden games. Whether people realize it or not, there are actually a lot of instances where people fill in the blanks for the reason that they're like playing through certain modes of the game. Like,
isn't technically the story mode to a Madden game the NFL season?
technically, yeah, but depending on what you do, like with your roster, with your, like, what team you're playing at all, whether you make one or you choose a specific one, whether you realize that you may be subconsciously fulfilling and creating your own story. Like, I know people who have gotten, like, a copy of Madden and played as, like, the Cardinals or the Browns, and the reason they do that is to fulfill this own story in their heads about the team winning its first Super Bowl.
Yeah, it's funny you mention that, because just going back to the 2K games, my brother's a huge fan of NHL 2K, and he's sort of gotten me into it. That's sort of what he would do. He'd pick a team that he liked and just buff them up with everything, and like trade members to the team that shouldn't be on the team but are good. So he just sort of played through the game with his own sort of team that he's built off of another team. So yeah, like, I understand what you're saying there. You sort of make your own story in those type of games. Ironically, like subconsciously, I guess.
Actually, I'm kind of guilty of that too. I had a MLB 2000, and I would just place the Cleveland Indians, and whoever I played against, I would trade a bunch of customized 4-foot-tall, zero-stat midgets to the entire roster of the opposing team.
You're an asshole.
I know!
You're exploiting the AI so much.
What can I say? I hated the Yankees, and the Orioles, and the Braves, and the Athletics, and the... Okay, everyone but the Indians.
Wait, what about the Raptors? Toronto Raptors are awesome.
That's a basketball team.
Oh, wait, we're talking about... Okay, sorry, Toronto Blue Jays. They won in 93.
Can I add in something?
Sure.
This is... on the subject of filling in your own story, like, let's take a game like Animal Crossing. Does that have a story?
I don't know. I've never played
really. It starts you off, but you make your own story afterwards.
And the game doesn't really end, right?
Well, I guess the story is really about living in this place. That's
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, but the reason I bring it up is there's this one LP that Something Awful did that crafted this fucking brilliant story just using Animal Crossing. Like, I'll link it to you guys if you haven't read it, but
Welcome to the town of Athens.
it
trees.
it pretty much takes the nice setting of Animal Crossing and makes it really twisted. And I mean really twisted. That's a good example of taking a game that has relatively no story and making your own thing out of it. Like, to you guys in this this call right now, I'll link it after we're done with this. I want you to take a look at it. It's great.
I want to say something like Fallout 3. Like, you know how that game goes, right? Where you're looking for your father, and of course you find him. But in the middle of that, you go through the wasteland, crafting your own story. Like, was he a good guy going throughout the entire land helping people, or was he an asshole at this one part of the place, causing like child slavery or something like that?
Like creepypasta and like friggin' fan fiction. It just kind of adds to a make your own story sort of thing.
Oh, why'd you have to remind me of fan fiction? You know, I think that's a good note to end the discussion on.
Anyways, back to the central reason of story in games of your 7-part retrospective, Scott.
No, I'm done.
You are done?
You brought up
You're not
fan
going to bring up
fiction.
anything about, like, the people who say Bloody Roar's story doesn't matter?
Fuck them.
The funny thing is, I played Bloody Roar 3 for years and I didn't even know there was a story. Is that bad?
Not necessarily, because the presentation is awful.
Yeah.
Like, you won't even realize there's any kind of story elements until you beat the game with the character, and you said that you kind of couldn't do that for the longest time.
Yeah. I still don't know if I haven't attempted recently, so I don't even know if I can. Brock mostly beat the whole game, so he's beaten it. I haven't, so we'll see. But, like, just like an example, like, you haven't gotten to this yet, but Primal Fury, just since we're talking about Bloody Roar, its story is a tournament is happening. I'm like, really?
Its story is, you've played this before.
Pretty much. Like, I'm just like, okay, let's play Primal Fury.
Oh, you remember what I said about how stories can sometimes motivate people or players to continue playing, right?
Yeah.
Okay, Dragon Knight on the DS. Zero, you played that game, remember?
Yeah.
Do you see how boring, like, the majority of that game was?
Yeah. If you're a fan
Or
of the
how it
TV
could be.
show, it's not
Yeah,
really.
so the only reason I played through that, or at least just one of them, was for the story. Like, I wanted to see what happened to the character.
But just an example that I guess I bring up because you brought that up, of a storyline that's really simple but effective as fan service, like the Climax Heroes games. Like, just Climax Heroes Foes, for example. Like, Kamen Rider Climax Heroes Foes, for anybody who doesn't know what I'm talking about. It's the story mode, or I forget what it's called in that game, because they change the name every game, it's all basically fantasy fights. Like, I can't read any of it because it's all in Japanese, but I kind of understand what's going on when I play through it. And that's how you can do a story in a fighting game, especially a crossover sort of thing, without having to put too much effort in, but also making it worthwhile for the player. Like, it's just one of those things where care just enough to put it in and make it worthwhile for a payoff. You don't have to write a book. You don't have to write a book. You don't have to have like pages upon pages of dialogue. Just make it
Just has to
worth
work.
it. Like, basically, just make it worth it. One of the most famous quotes I remember from this is, put the minimum necessary effort into everything you do, because if you put maximum into everything, you'll get nothing done. But while you're putting in minimum, tweak it so that it's worth something. You don't, you don't have to put so much emphasis on the story, but make it worthwhile.
Also, on story, like, take liberties with it. Anyone here, or Zero, do you know about the game Dragon Ball Z Supersonic Warriors?
I know of it. I haven't played it though.
Okay, that game. Okay, you know how all the Dragon Ball Z games are always like following the main 3 sagas, and it gets and after a while, it kind of gets really boring.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Supersonic Warrior does that, but it takes liberties with its characters where it has an alternate take on it. Like, what if Piccolo was the hero of the entire series? What if Majin Buu actually like destroyed everything?
Yeah.
Stuff like that was interesting. The funniest being Dr. Gerode, and I definitely recommend people go play his story because it is absolutely hilarious story-wise and gameplay-wise. Like, me and my friend laughed our asses off playing his story.
Yeah, they did that in Budokai 3 as well, and you just reminded me, Star Wars Episode 3, the game, they experimented with that. You could actually play through the game, and you could play through the game as Anakin and not become Darth Vader. And you could have a happy ending at the end of that game. You could have the doesn't become Darth Vader. Him and his wife doesn't die, and they have their kids. You can have it, and the Sith is destroyed. Like, that's a possible ending. That's like a fantasy ending, like you were saying, taking liberties. Or you could kill the Emperor and become the new Emperor. Like, that's even for and it was a pretty linear game, but it gave you options, and when it gave you options, it affected the ending. So, even though how limited it was, I mean, I'm not calling this Knights of the Old Republic here, but it's even stuff like that is pretty interesting. Like, and it had to follow the movie pretty closely. So for it to take liberties was pretty surprising. Because I thought it was just going to be a cut and dry. Okay, well we're getting on to different really, really out there topics and aspects of stories.
I guess this means we do care about story.
Yeah.
Talking about it so much.
Yeah. But Unreal SCR, do you guys have anything else to say?
Hurry up before we keep talking.
I do not.
Neither do I. Which I guess means it's that time again.
Time of the year.
Time for viewer questions.
Question.
Is it one again?
Yeah, it's one again. Guess who?
Does he start with 2 double A's?
Akago!
Amayira Akago.
And his question is, which classic game franchise would you want to see rebooted in the near future?
Excellent.
Oh boy.
Excellent question, Akago. Well played. Well played.
Does anyone want to go first on this? Because I need time to think.
I need time to think.
I'll go first. Mega Man.
Hide in the corner.
Oh, gee.
It needs... I don't think a sequel is going to work on consoles. It needs either a new series or a reboot.
So is Mega Man going to spout fuck yous all over the place?
No. And with Capcom, the king of third-person shooters, or turning games into third-person shooters, there's no excuse not to put on Mega Man Legends. Reboot Mega Man Legends. Because when they released it, it was a tank game. A tank-controlled adventure game. Now, we have the technology to make games in third person that aren't tanks. So, use the Lost Planet engine, make a new Legends. You could call it Mega Man Re-Legends or something, or Mega Man The New Adventures of Mega Man. I don't know. Just make a third person 3D Mega Man game. It can't be that hard to turn him into an IP that can make a third person 3D shooter. It can't be that tough. Because Mega Man Legends was fun, but it hasn't aged well. And I want to see what they could do if they redid that franchise for that series of Mega Man. So, reboot Legends. And reboot Donkey Kong Country and have Rare do it. Even though they even though Nintendo doesn't own Rare anymore.
Oh, by the way, what did you think of Donkey Kong Country Returns?
It's okay, but it's not Donkey Kong Country. If it was just called Donkey Kong Returns, I'd be okay with it. But it's called Donkey Kong Country Returns, I'm just like, eh.
It's not bad, it's just, it doesn't live.
It's not Donkey Kong Country. But anyway.
Yeah, that's definitely something I want to see rebooted, dude. Like bring another Donkey Kong Country. Like, bring all the levels and all the uniqueness of it. And I know that they're probably not going to do this, but please do it pre-rendered.
Oh, and
I like the look of that.
Oh, and this isn't a franchise I've played, but since we're speaking of Rare, instead of making a really, really terrible sequel, reboot Banjo-Kazooie and make it good. I'm done. Anybody want to step up to the plate?
I'm still thinking.
I have some idea, but I just want to get one more game before I talk. Unreal, you got anything?
In terms of... I can't think of anything... Well, actually, I have one idea reboot-wise, as in, like...
Do tell.
In terms of rethinking everything, what they're doing, it should be pretty obvious. Resident fucking Evil.
Yeah.
They need to fucking stop what they're doing and completely reevaluate what the series was fucking great for.
And focus on it better.
Oh, I just thought of one. Sonic 06, the No Bug Edition.
Not gonna happen. But one other thing, I'm not sure if I would say reboot. I just want a new installment. Just another Unreal game. Just,
yeah.
There hasn't really been one in a while, and I think the reason is because since the Unreal Tournament 3 didn't sell that well, it pretty much killed off Twitch-based shooting. Which is unfortunate, because having another Twitch-based shooter would be a fucking change of pace at this point in the fucking gaming industry.
Oh, I loved Unreal. No, not you. Unreal 2000. That game was so much fun.
2000?
The one before Gold. Or was it just called Unreal? Unreal Tournament of...
Unreal Tournament came out in 99. What came before that was just called Unreal. That was single player based. Tournament was...
Okay, then it's Unreal. Then it's just Unreal Tournament then. Unreal Tournament.
Just those two franchises, like with Resident Evil, stop what you're fucking doing and rethink it. I mean, Resident Evil Revelations, which was on the 3DS, was great. That's something like that is pretty much acceptable for me. Like it pretty much did what a modern Resident Evil game should do, and I think it helps that the game's now being ported to consoles and PC this year. So that's probably a good sign, but I don't know if they're going to make more games like that, or just... I don't know.
Depends on the success, I guess.
And with Unreal, I want another game. Like, it's been a while. Like, I think... Either Unreal Tournament 3 came out in 2008, I think? So it didn't come out not too long ago, but... Still.
Okay, I think I have a few ideas now.
Oh, wait. Can I go?
Go ahead.
Okay, let me get these off before I forget. Beautiful Joe. Bring back Beautiful Joe. Give us number 3. Finish the trilogy. Like, it was originally supposed to be a trilogy, but no, it got stopped at 2. Then came, Double Trouble, which was pretty neat, but give us 3. I just want to complete my collection, and I also want to play it. And they should do something. They should do more with it. Because when I finished playing Beautiful Joe 2, I kind of had a hard time playing Beautiful Joe 1 because it had less than that, sort of. But yeah, Beautiful Joe 3. I want another Super Mario RPG, like in this the way it was done. And I know there was Battle Saga, that was good too, but I want another Super Mario RPG.
That just reminded me. They need to reboot Paper Mario and make it an RPG again.
You mean properly, unlike the Paper Mario stickers?
Like an actual RPG, not. I got stickers that make combat pointless.
That's kind of what I was wondering. Like, wait, yeah, but I was like, nah, I want another Super Mario RPG. I had fun with the game mechanics, the story, and I liked the way it looked. It was really neat. And then another one. There's probably not. This is definitely not happening. But I want another Illusion of Gaia. Just something like in that same aspect. Like that was such a fun adventure game to play. Like I loved it. Let's see. Do I have one more game that I want to see? Another 2D Metroid game. Because what was the last Metroid game? Metroid Other M?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I want another 2D Metroid game because it's just classy. And yeah, Prime's cool too, but I like the 2D games. Like Super Metroid is my favorite. Fusion was good. Zero Mission was also really good. Like I want another 2D Metroid game. Just go and make one. You have do something with it, but make it 2D. And that's my piece for now.
It took me a minute to think about this, but then my eyes kind of wandered over to the Genesis, and I got a few ideas.
Genesis?
Like, for one thing, sticking out of it right now is Beyond Oasis. I really want to see what people could do with something like that, given today's technology.
So that would be so good, a new Beyond Oasis.
Another thing I just thought about, Vector Man. I would love to see another Vector Man game.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But it's kind of an outdated concept now, but it'd be interesting.
Or just something in the same aspect of that, like Pixel Man or something. But yeah, I agree.
And I know that the whole like rebooting fighting games has been kind of a common thing to happen now, but please do something with Killer Instinct.
Oh yes.
I think they're talking about making KI3 now.
Yeah, I've heard that for the longest time though, but nothing's really materialized from it yet.
I heard more recently that
here.
Microsoft's relented and said, okay, you can make KI3 rare. I just haven't heard anything else.
I have no hope in Rare anymore. They really have.
Okay, here's a question, Scott. What if they rebooted / remade Bloody Roar 1? What would they have to do?
That's a question for another day, because I actually have a couple more ideas I need to get through.
Okay.
By the way, delivered interesting. You know those Super Nintendo packages that come with a game? Killer Instinct was one of them. And you also know that war between Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat, and you had to pick a side? Jokingly, I picked Killer Instincts. And I didn't like fighting games that much, but Killer Instincts. Continue.
I actually have just two more ideas, but this one I would really love to see done today, and that's Road Rash.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I want to whip some motherfuckers with a chain.
It's just funny to
Get
play.
the baseball bat.
What about a chainsaw?
Wait, you know what I also like? Kicking people off their bikes.
Oh yeah.
PlayStation.
Especially the cops.
Yeah.
Fuck the police.
Did anyone care about getting in first place? I mean,
Yeah, I did, because that, well, more money for upgrades and such, but...
Oh, well,
But that didn't stop me from trying to just beat up as many people as I possibly could.
like, I'm not saying, like, forget getting to first place. I'm saying, like when you play Road Rash, the thing you want to do is beat people off the track. That was a lot of fun, and getting to first place was also cool. Or, you know what I mean, right?
First place is cool too.
Yeah, being some bitch in first place. Oh yeah, that's cool.
Oh, trophy, money, yeah, that's nice.
Let's bitch some motherfuckers. Oh, and then imagine if it was online.
Oh dear God.
It would be hilarious.
That would be such a clusterfuck.
Would it be?
Oh,
would you say,
someone has to make that happen now.
Would you say it'd be a beautiful clusterfuck?
A beautiful disaster, I think, is the phrase for it.
It's everyone just beating the shit out of each other and not caring about the race, and then the cops come, and then everyone beats the cop up.
Oh.
Make it!
I have one more game, and I know this is going to sound like a joke, but someone should reboot Ernest Evans.
Why?
I'm gonna fucking hit you.
How would you do those amazing physics?
Simple.
Oh.
You hire only one animator. One animator who only knows how to use, like, an old, unupdated version of Flash.
Oh yeah, speaking of which, I'm working in Flash.
I'm just imagining, like, a new Ernest Evans games, like how the physics would work if a giant boulder came at you and you flew across the screen.
Or how a level starts up and spikes shoot from the ground and launch you 200 feet in the air.
That's like making a new Lesser the Unlikely.
I was gonna say I want to be the guy, but
I think that does it for viewer questions.
Yeah.
But
Damn it, Akago!
oh,
questions
happy double A.
That may have been the longest like, answer.
man.
May have been the longest answers we've had for a few questions so far.
Yeah. If you want us to answer questions, leave them in the comments below the YouTube upload or on our website at rivercitygamers.wordpress.com. You can also ask us questions to be answered on the podcast on our Facebook page, facebook.com/rivercitygamers.
And for God's sakes, please, somebody other than Akago give us more questions. We love you,
Not
man.
that we don't
but
appreciate.
We need more. I know, not that we don't appreciate it, but for God's sakes, we have almost 1,000 subscribers on our channel.
Not that we're bragging or anything.
We get, yeah, we have like 12.
We just want viewer participation.
Our website doesn't look a day over 12,000. And
Shut up, Dante.
And come on, people watch our videos. Leave us a goddamn question. God, I'm yelling at people.
Fucking Gary Newell. Oh my god. Just some comment I got on my Battleship thing on the website. He told me to do Never Dead or Half-Life 3. I know there was like a fucking troll one, but whoever's Gary Newell that posted on the site, fucking post a question.
Gary Newell, ask us questions on the River City Gamers podcast, please.
And Gary Newell says, no? I think we should just move into video updates. So, who feels like going first? I don't have any bullshit method for picking who goes first, so someone just start talking.
Does anybody else want to go? Because I can go. Yeah.
Go.
Okay. First off, 2 weeks ago, I released Street Fighter Cross Mega Man review, and I just recently posted the new Arcade Aficionados of Double Dragon. So that's what's been released. So check those out if you get a chance. Okay. Now what I'm working on. First of all, I'm going to be working on here soon the new From 0 to 100 with me and Wiz on Kamen Rider Dragon Knight. So
if you saw the preview at the end of the PS1 Ryuki game.
Yeah, at the end of your PS1 Ryuki game. So that will be coming out eventually, because Wiz is busy with school and
the fact that when I transfer footage to Zero, it's going to take like a day to get through.
He's been sending me footage for a week. So let me put it in that perspective. It's taking a long time. So
we got the script down. I just need to get the stuff to Zero because he's editing it this time.
Yeah, I will get to it as soon as everything gets sent to me. So that will be coming out hopefully next month. as long as it doesn't take another month to send files to me. So, but anyways, other than that, I am finally working on my first retrospective, and I originally was going to do the Tony Hawk retrospective first, but I'm going to hold it off because there's another one that I find that's more important right now, and there's something else about it. I'm not going to give out too much information yet, but it's not a game review. Let me put it that way. And no, it's not a Toku review either. It's something I've never reviewed before, and I've written a third of the script so far of the first part, and I've been completely drained from it, so it's taking me a long time to write. It's probably not going to be up for this week, maybe next week, but this week you'll probably be getting another try or buy or another Henshin time, whichever one, because I have those saved up and ready to go. I just need to post them, but I'm working on the retrospective, and you'll see what that is soon enough. And it's not a game review. It's something I've never reviewed before, so just keep that in mind. And just one last thing. Once all that stuff's done, I will be getting back to Ultimate Fighter. Most people are probably like, what are you talking about? I've never heard of this. Well, it's a review I've been working on for 2 years. And I just I've been revising the script over and over again. Which, by the way, Scott, you will be receiving that fairly soon, once I finish revising that script, because I need you as a cameo.
Cameo in what regard?
You'll see when you get the script. But, yeah. That's all my shit. Watch my shit. Okay, who's next?
Okay, I said I was going second. Well, the only thing that I've released that's most recent is the Kamen Rider Ryuki PS1 game. Go take a look at it if you haven't already taken a look at it. But so far, yes, like Zero mentioned, I have college, but that does not stop me from script writing. So while I'm not getting any recording done, I am getting some scripts written. The next one, it's not going to be a game review. It's going to be a movie. I've been putting off this review for about half a year because I wasn't sure how to go about it. But it's a movie review, and it's kind of personal, so we're going to have that. And then another movie review. I think I told Zero about this, but well, maybe not. But I think Zero would be the only one that knows this. But do expect a game review. Sometimes when I get around to it, because I do have 2 surprises coming up. Watch my stuff, listen to it, upload it, and go to rivercity.wordpress.com.
Wait, upload it? You want people to pirate your videos?
Okay, wrong phrase, wrong words to use.
Should I go next?
Do it.
Yeah.
Why the hell not? I haven't had much of a chance to work on anything because college is kicking my ass. But, well, college and work actually, but I am still trying to work on the next edition of SCXCR, which I actually need to get in contact with some friends I know through convention, because the video for that one is going to require a bunch of photography. I'm just going to leave it at that. And I am actually still working on a few new series that I've had in development for a little bit. One I've already mentioned called I Hate This Game. And another I haven't mentioned called Devil's Advocate, which is basically taking games that have traditionally been given like really bad or below average reviews and just trying to make a case for them. This will not always be a very serious series, but...
Wait, is this like a courtroom lawsuit?
Oh, absolutely not.
Oh, okay, because I was going to say, I kind of had something going on there with Inspector after that.
But beyond that, I do have one other thing to mention, which is within the next week or so, I'm going to try and get up like a preview of what I'm doing with WWE 13 as far as creating my own league, which I've almost got the script written out for the first episode, and I've almost completed recording for it too, so I'm going to get working on that pretty soon. And I think that about does it for me, so... Unreal, you got anything?
Okay, who's shocked that I actually put a review out?
Not really.
It's
not
late,
really.
but you were determined to get it out. You were talking for months about how you wanted to get it done before the end of the year, but...
Are you saying late? Last podcast, I set a deadline and I fucking met it. Don't give me that shit. Everything else was Duke Nukem Forever release date-wise.
Well, no, you originally said you wanted to get it out before the end of the year, so... You
Which
did,
I didn't.
But at least it's out now. And it was a good review, so...
Yeah.
Anyways.
New Madness is going to be frequent again. I recorded an episode, I just got to work on it. Will probably be up tomorrow as of recording, not podcast posting, obviously. My next review, even though I mentioned in like the end of the Battleship review that I was going to cover a good game, that probably won't be for a while. There is a review I am going to do that is going to be under wraps right now. Like, I'm not going to reveal much other than it is a review. There may be 2 videos on different things. Like one of the videos may be a 2-parter, and the other videos there's gonna be a single part. But I'm not gonna reveal what they are. I'm still debating it. What?
I just have one question.
What?
Is the G unit gonna have that big alien ship again?
No.
By the way, that was a great way to introduce them. I enjoyed that.
I need more black voices. I can't do this by myself.
Yo, motherfucker.
You'll eventually
You have no idea how annoying it was to try and make me sound black.
Who wants a body massage?
No.
Well, and then you put the stuff in the Decepticons and the Autobots. Yeah.
With that stuff, I'm keeping quiet about it. In fact, one of the videos may not, I may not actually do. I'm still thinking about it. But just expect reviews, but not of a game right now. There's one other thing, which I actually need to start writing soon if I want to reasonably do this, and you guys probably heard me talk about this, and I don't want any of you guys in this podcast to say anything.
I didn't hear anything about it, so my mouth.
No, like when I bring it up, you'll know. Just please don't say anything that may reveal what it is, okay? Just there's this big video I want to do, and
is it that one video?
all I'm gonna say is it's gonna commemorate the 20th anniversary of Power Rangers with Mega Force. That's it. That's all I'm gonna say on that.
You know what's ironic?
What?
3 of the 4 people in this podcast next reviews probably aren't going to be game reviews.
Ironic.
And honestly, that's all I got. There's nothing else to update on aside from everything I just listed. I'm all set.
Well, I believe that brings us to the end of this podcast. Once again, I am SCXCR.
I am Unreal that we'll have to make another review in 6 months or longer.
I'm the Wizard 100, and you're the viewers.
And I'm Zeromaster.
And, Zero, why don't you go ahead and promote all of your channels?
Every single one.
Okay, well, don't forget to like us on Facebook, follow us each on Twitter. Don't forget to...